Hey guys, this is Mordain. Uh, I had a request on a previous video I had posted about doing a drag drop functionality for events without using a plugin. And the request was to do a more thorough tutorial. I've gotten to a point where I've been using the technology to where I've been able to actually kind of refine it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and try to give you guys like a basic kind of breakdown of the code and what each part of the code does. Don't worry too much about being able to parse the code from the video. I'm going to post all the code into the description, so you can put it in. So it'll be easier for you to grab it and toss it into your project and use. But yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, so these three events here have all been coded to for the drag drop functionality. I also added functionality for them not being able to move to a location where an event already exists. That was actually a request somebody had made, which makes sense. I mean, you don't want to be able to drag, once they're stacked on top of each other, you'd have to find a way to like separate them, which is doable. I have a working version of that as well. But let's go ahead and get into the actual code for just basic drag drop functionality. Okay, so on your first, you're going to need 2 pages for this. On your first page, the first conditional branch is a very basic script for just verifying that the mouse click is being held down. This is TouchInput.isPressed. I'll pull that up so you can see it a little easier. So basically, it's just TouchInput.isPressed, and all that does is verify that the mouse click is being held down. Now, you'll need a second conditional in this that verifies the mouse click x is equal to the event x, and the mouse click y is equal to the y location of the event as well. I just broke it into two different things because it seemed a little cleaner. And this code is basically gameMap.event, this event ID, x, equal gameMap.canvasToMapX, TouchInput.x. Now, what this breaks down to is this event ID's x is equal to the mouse click x rounded off to the map canvas. The second condition you're going to need for is basically the exact same code. You just replace y everywhere that there's an x, because this is looking for the y, not the x. Okay, and then basically, if that's true, basically if mouse is being held down and the XY location for the event is equal to the XY location rounded to canvas of the mouse, then we're going to run 2 pieces of code. We're doing a variable check, basically to pull the event ID of the event you're currently selecting. And that's a really simple, just event ID is equal to this event ID. Now, this part is not necessary, but I found it very useful when you're having multiple events that you're interacting with, so that you don't have multiple events able to be interacted with simultaneously. You just basically set that event ID to a variable, and then it'll only access that event. That's why I have this in here, but it'll run without that code. The next one is the next piece of code is basically just turning switch B on to go to your next page. Okay, so on this page, we're running the exact same first line condition that we had on the first page, which is the touch input is pressed. Basically, that the mouse the mouse button is still being held down. After that condition, we need to put a condition in that verifies that there is no event at the location you're trying to move the event to. and that code is gameMap.eventIdXy equal to 0. And we're using the exact same X and Y coordinates for the mouse click that we used in the previous thing, which is the gameMap.canvasToMapX TouchInput.x. And the same thing for the Y. But yeah, basically you just want that equal to 0. And what that does as a condition is it verifies whether there's an event at that location or not. The movement code is very simple. It's basically just the set event to location code, just done in a script format and using the TouchInput.xy. The code for that is this dot character 0 dot locate, and then we do an XY, and our XY is the exact same XY of the that we used before for the mouse click, which is the canvas to map X, TouchInput.x, and the Y version of that. So again, that is basically just this dot character 0 dot locate, and then the XY of the mouse click. Yeah, the only other code that I have here is the disable code for when you take off the mouse click. And to do that, you go into your first conditional branch for the isPressed, and you do an else branch. You know, the else branch click right here. And then our else branch, basically what we're doing is if the mouse is not being held down, it sets the event ID variable to 0, and then turns this page off and returns back to B. Now, what does this do altogether? Basically, what it does is it gives you a drag drop functionality for any event. So that when you click on the event, if the XY location changes while it's being held down, the event will move to that XY location. And then it'll do that until you release the mouse click. Yeah, pretty simple. It seems to work pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and take it into game now. Load the game up now, so you can actually see what it looks like in engine. Yeah, so here we have 3 event IDs. 3 events. They're all coded the exact same way with the same drag drop functionality. Basically, I can click anywhere on the game, and it won't do anything unless the XY location of the mouse is equal to this. Now, if I click there and hold it down, we get drag drop functionality. And basically, you can just sit here and drag them around the screen. On top of that, I've also put in the other code that was requested that makes it to where these things can't overlap. So basically, if I'm dragging this object and I drag it on top of here, when it gets to that XY location, when the mouse gets to this XY location, it will no longer go forward. And then basically it'll transport the event past it like this. See? And I can sit here and do this all day and they'll never actually overlap. Yeah. The only thing I found with this is that occasionally, since you're holding the mouse click down, it will switch to another event. But there are ways to code that so that doesn't happen, and that's kind of like what the code I used for setting the event variable. Basically, because that event variable is set, it will only be able to move that event to the new location, so it shouldn't activate the other one because it's not. Oh, you know what? You could just add something, add a verification for if the event ID is equal to a number greater than 0, because then it won't activate another event. I'll probably add that code, but it's a very simple code, so I'm not gonna, for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm not gonna add it in there. But yeah, basically that's how you do drag drop interaction with an event without having to have any extra plugins. And yeah, I guess we'll see how this video does. Hopefully, this tutorial is helpful. Interested to see what gameplay mechanics you guys can use this for. Let me know if it helps. If you guys have any questions, just ask in the comments. All right, this is Mordain. Have a good day.